Let's go. Welcome back to episode 4 of the MVP Sports News Fantasy Podcast. My name's Tyler Johnson, and with me, like always, is Ryan Elke. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to get this 4th episode rolling. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. Here in Wisconsin, we got about a foot of snow. That was fun to trek through in the morning. Did it affect you at all?
Yeah, well, it didn't affect me, but I've seen a lot of people stuck. I actually had my car parked in the garage, and I just floored it out of the garage and got through all of it. So
And that's what I did. I followed my girlfriend's tire tracks all the way down the driveway to make sure that I didn't make a second one, and I had to shovel afterwards.
I didn't have any time to snow blow in the morning, so I was like, "Yep, we're just gonna try to get through this." It worked.
Well, you got a 4-wheeler all-wheel drive car just like me.
Yeah,
so.
I do, but I was using my girlfriend's car. The front wheel drive.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, I saw some videos of people just wheeling and dealing.
On my way to work, I think it was 3 people stuck in the driveway. There's tires just spinning. They're wondering why they're not moving.
Yeah,
if I had some time to go help them, like give them a little push, I would. But I was running late, so I was like, "Yep, you're on your own."
Some people hope for that, so they're like, "Oh, I guess I'll call work and
they're like,
get back in my driveway.
I can't move. My car's not working. No, all right, go to sleep." We had 2 people calling by us.
Oh yeah, my work was dead today. I mean, you couldn't hear anything. But so for episode 4, we are going to be talking about the news. We got a couple news articles that we're going to go over for the NFL, and then also we're going to talk about our draft. We had a 16 team, the largest draft that we've done, so that this way we can cover a 10-person draft, a 12-person draft, and then this 16-person all in one. So we'll see where people went, where the value was, where wasn't the value, and then kind of our thought process as that draft went on. Lastly, we're going to go over Ryan's MLB talk, just a couple trades, a couple rumors, not much to touch on in MLB.
Still not much going on in MLB.
Yeah.
A couple things, one big trade.
So then let's kick it off with the news. We were talking about the Steelers, and actually my favorite team. It's been a weird offseason with Le'Veon Bell and then now Antonio Brown wanting to be traded. Antonio Brown wanting to be traded. What's your thought on that, Ryan?
I feel like part of it is there was some chatter saying how Antonio Brown is a system wide receiver and he's only good because of Roethlisberger, and I feel like that got to his head, and he was like, okay, well, he did mention it, even though he said he was joking. He's like, okay, trade me, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So now it is, it came around full circle here, and he's like, okay, it's my time. Let's go. I'm going to go somewhere else. It seems like a little circus over there in Pittsburgh anyways. I mean, Le'Veon Bell saga, and now the diva, Antonio Brown. He is a diva, man, but
yeah,
not going to lie, I would gladly accept him on my Detroit Lions or even the hometown Packers, dude. It'd be crazy. It'd be pretty cool to see Antonio Brown on the Packers opposite of Devontae Adams with Aaron Rodgers at QB.
Well, and Brown even being on a different team is going to look very strange. It's going to be strange how he meshes with any other quarterback because all of his touchdown passes have been with one quarterback. It was a crazy stat that I was looking at. I wish I had it in front of me, but him and Big Ben are he's the only person he's caught touchdowns with was Big Ben.
Dynamic duo, man. Anytime any other quarterback played, he was like average at best.
Yeah, and you wonder too, being together for that long, you see quarterbacks that get that connection with the wide receivers, and then all of a sudden they go off to another system, another quarterback.
Greg Jennings.
Yeah. Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson. Just looking at the Packers.
We go on and on, all the Packers receivers.
You learn their routes.
Success.
I don't know if he's helping or hurting himself. I think he's hurting himself in the long run. He wants to prove that he can do it elsewhere, and he's in fantastic shape, and he's got a lot of years left. But
he believes in himself, which can't knock him for that. I respect that.
Yeah, and just signing that extension, the cap hit that it would take to trade him, and just kind of it seems selfish after taking that money that now he's looking for a trade. And it seems as if he's looking to make a point. You know what I mean? He's trying to get onto a different team.
He's clearly trying to make a point, I feel like. He just is. He's just trying to show, like, hey, I can ball out wherever I go.
And, I mean, we're looking at some of the teams that he could possibly go for. I think it's an open slate to any team, maybe like Dallas. I'm trying to think of like teams. He could pretty much go anywhere. It's kind of a
No,
wild card.
I remember reading something a few weeks back, maybe a month ago. His preferred destination was San Francisco, and honestly, it's a good fit.
Yeah, that'd be kind
I
of
don't want it.
crazy.
I don't want him to go there, but they do need a wide receiver. And
Yeah,
with
and
Garoppolo coming back, if he comes back healthy, which I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't. It'd be a good combination over there.
yeah, and the way he can create separation is the reason that he'll work anywhere. Now the thing is getting that connection with the quarterback is the main thing. He can
Yep,
get the separation,
exactly.
but the quarterback's got to be on the same page with him, or he's just going to be underthrowing, overthrowing. It's going to be hard to reach him like Big Ben reaches him. So,
Well, he's getting up there in age too. So yeah, he's going to be 31 years old. So that quickness could go down a little bit, which could that will hurt him. I mean,
yeah,
either way, he's a good route runner, so he'll have longevity in the league. I mean, he'll probably be able to play into his mid 30s for sure and be effective, but he won't be as quick or fast as he once was, I believe. But his route running just alone and his hands, I think, will keep him in the league for a long time, and he'll be at least an above average wide receiver in his like mid 30s, I feel.
where would you project him if you had to draft and you knew he was going to a different team? I know I'm not drafting him in the first round.
No.
I think he
Okay,
pushes down to almost a low 2,
throwing
high
me on
3.
the spot here, but that's where I was gonna say. I was gonna say,
Right around where Tyreek Hill was getting drafted this year is where I would put him. Where he was
yeah,
end of the
okay,
second and then
end of the
top
second,
of the third.
early third.
And I'm
You can
definitely
go with that. I mean, it matters. I guess it matters where he goes. We'll see. If he has an established QB, I think mid to late second round will probably be where he's
yeah.
going.
And name value wise, it's
Yeah.
gonna keep him up there. So looking at that, I'm definitely drafting Juju ahead of him if
Oh,
he
I
goes to a
would
different
take
team.
Juju's gonna be a good. He's gonna be a big target for me this year, coming up in
Yeah.
the drafts, in early
And
second round,
and I hope that he's
possibly.
not overdrafted where people are
Yeah,
taking him
I
at the
feel
high
he's
2.
going to be. Yeah, that's. I mean, I could see him coming off the board in early second round, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
and
sure
that's
what the
on.
projections are for next year, but I could very well see that happening. He
Yeah,
could be rising up.
where he's right behind like Tyreek Hill, or like in the conversation of him, Tyreek Hill. I think it's mid to high 2 is what we're gonna see for Juju, and then looking at James Conner, he's gonna be up there.
Oh, he's the
He
first round,
Yeah, and I think he might be an
late first
overdraft
round. I think so
at
too.
that too. I would maybe take Connor low 2, high 3.
Yeah.
Just
No,
putting you on the spot.
he'll be. Connor will be going late round 1, early round 2 for sure. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like that's where his projection is going to be at.
Okay.
Just for
And
the volume that he'll be getting, and then if you do, you better draft the backup Samuels. You
yep.
got to draft him too because Connor
It,
has already been banged up.
and I mean, keep your eye open for who they draft in the free agency or the rookie draft if they pick
Yep.
up somebody, because you think of Jalen Samuels and it's like, okay, they got 2 guys right now. They definitely have to bring on a third, and the third guy might work his way up.
Dude, honestly, like Pittsburgh just churns out running backs like crazy. Like, remember
Yeah.
DeAngelo Williams? He's like 34. He was an RB1 for like 8 weeks.
You drafted him while Le'Veon was out. You had like
Yeah.
20 plus games, 5 games in a row.
Oh yeah,
4
20
games in a row.
plus, 4 games in a row. Yeah, I think
It's
you had
insane.
him that year.
Yeah. Yep. I made sure to draft him.
Yeah.
Like I should have had
Yep.
James Conner this year, but I missed out on that one because I
Yeah.
decided to take my defense before him. But
Well, that was in like the second to last round.
yeah. Yep. And then he got
We
drafted.
did our draft before it was confirmed Le'Veon Bell was out, but I mean, pretty much everyone did, I think. It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
It was
people are
like
taking him. He was
Tuesday?
even in the free agency on most leagues. So people are drafting, thinking Le'Veon Bell, and then not thinking much of Connor. So
I did pick up Connor in 2 of them. I got
Yeah.
him for free, so that helps.
Well, then we'll move on. Any other news that you're seeing? I'm only seeing Brown. Le'Veon Bell is kind of.
Oh, we got a. What about just happened? Kareem Hunt signed with the
yeah.
Browns.
Yep.
It's big news, man. It just proves the Browns just want to win, man. They don't like they're gonna say, oh, everyone deserves a second chance, but they know the talent of this guy, man. So that's their clear sign. Like they want to win. They're trying to turn this franchise around. Whatever happened in the past, whatever you've done, whatever, we don't care. If you're good at football, come play. You know,
Yep.
if something happens while you're here, then obviously you're done. But they're kind of just clearing the slate on what happened, and I, that's a good
It's a good move,
that's a good pickup.
It's his old coach that was like, I drafted
he's
you.
the one who I'm pretty sure he drafted him.
Yep, I drafted you. I brought you up.
Dorsey,
all of a sudden,
yep.
and all of a sudden he's out there in the free agency. Next year he's going to get that suspension, whether it's going to be most of the year or not.
Yeah, they said it could be 12 games, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang.
And that's insane to think about,
Whatever.
but
I mean,
you
got
gotta.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's gonna be a nice combo, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Honestly, it'll keep them both fresh. That's gonna be dangerous as hell, dude. Imagine if the Browns get another receiver too.
Yeah, the Browns are gonna look good, and Baker is the future.
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, it's gonna feel good to see him do well. I miss.
Do you want to see him do well? I mean, you're kind of a Steelers fan there, same division,
I mean, they've been steamrolled for how long? You kind of root for the underdog no matter what, unless it's the Bears. Then I don't root for the Bears, but
screw the Bears and the Vikings. But, yeah.
And then what else I want to talk about was when they drafted him. Was it only a 1-year contract also?
I heard so they signed him to the futures contract or whatever that is. Like, so he's under contract for them, but I believe they retained his rights. So
that's what I was gonna say. Because
they absorbed just his contract or how that works, but
it's almost like they're keeping them for themselves, and they're saying, "Hey, nobody else can touch you. We have the rights to you."
1-year deal. I think that's what it is.
And I think it was a 1-year.
His rights for this year. Yeah.
And I looked at it, I'm like, wow, that's so odd because he's going to be out for like the whole season with a suspension. Yep. But maybe they're just saying, hey, we're going to keep him through the year, and then we're going to use him the following year or in the playoffs if we make the playoffs.
They'll have a chance to probably re-sign him. I don't know I don't know exactly how it works, but maybe his contract hits like restricted free agency. Teams would have to give them a pick if they want to sign him, so that would give him another one up on if they do want him or not. I'm not sure. I haven't really dug into it. I'm just speculating on how it works, but I mean, that would kind of make sense.
So that they almost have first dibs the following year if he's healthy and ready to go. But okay, we'll switch off that. We're going to kind of go to college into the NFL. Kyler Murray was a big name that has been talked about in like ESPN and all these random sites that are kind of back and forth, like ups and downs. What do you think of him? He's too short, but he's quick. He's going to be a fantasy monster if he ends up on one of these teams and starts. I think he's kind of like a Josh Allen, where he's going to get a lot of rushing yards and possibly a better thrower. But we're going to have to see. There's a few teams out there looking for him. What do you think about him as a person, as a player?
First off, this whole committing to football, I feel, comes off to me as kind of a money grab type thing. And also it's kind of smart for him to do so because baseball can take you a while. He gets the guaranteed $4 million signing bonus or whatever, but then anything after that's you're not guaranteed anything. You have to make your way through the system and all that crap just to get up there. And by then he couldn't go back to football. So I feel maybe it was a smarter decision to go football. And then because he's going to get 4 years guaranteed, and how crappy the quarterback class is this year, he's going to be overdrafted big time in the rookie draft. And they're saying possibly even in the top 10. They have him projected, I think, going to the Miami Dolphins at 13, which might not be a terrible fit. And then it's just a good year for him to do so. He guarantees himself 4 years. I don't know what the rookie scale is. It matters where he gets drafted at, but it's going to be a lot more than what he's getting for baseball for that guaranteed money. And then there's also the 5th year option, and that might not get picked up if he does bad. But the thing is, like, how often off the top of my head, I can't remember one first round player to get cut in his rookie deal. Kareem Hunt, obviously, because he wasn't even a first round pick. So that's not even in there. So I can't think of a first round player that was cut during the rookie contract. It doesn't happen. So he's going to get all that money. And if he's not good after that, then he'll be cut. But by then he'll already made $20+ million. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like you said, you're looking at the rookie draft class, and you're also looking at the NFL starting quarterbacks right now. And I could see any team looking at like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, and they're like, hey, we're going to jump up in the draft, pick this guy up, and use him as kind of like that Michael Vick role. Not anywhere near Michael Vick, but like maybe like a Russell Wilson role, and shorter guy, but he can throw the ball better than Lamar and Josh Allen, and he can run. The only problem is he's shorter, and that's the biggest knock that the teams are giving him. And I'm looking at kind of the
listed at 5'10". He actually is 5'8". I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and they're just pushing his height up just to make it look better on paper, but he'll make an impact. And like I said, MLB, and like you were talking about also, MLB will take a while to gain into the system. Man. There's so many players. It's so saturated the MLB so saturated that getting in the NFL, at least you can be the backup and still making money.
You're saving. Dude, if he's a first round player, and he's gonna probably start right away. So honestly,
and I'm saying if it doesn't work out, I can see him drop into like a backup position.
Yep.
And teams want that. They want somebody like him that can switch in, maybe run a wildcat. It's nice to have that younger player right behind your starter.
I feel like he can be utilized in any offense. Maybe not as an every down QB, but he's athletic enough to do stuff. He can catch passes, if he can even catch passes, and he can do a lot of different things.
So let's run down the
talent. I don't know.
yeah. Well, looking at the rest of the quarterbacks in the rookie draft,
that's what I'm saying. But it's really weak.
So looking at the teams, let's run through the top 5, and then we'll say where we think he might go. So we got Oakland Raiders at number 1. We got the Jaguars at number 2, Giants at 3, Redskins at 4, and Cardinals at 5. And then we'll just throw in the Dolphins at 6. What is your best guess, Ryan, if you had to?
I don't... Man, you know what? Where did the Giants pick in the top 5, don't they?
Yep.
I don't see them that he's not going to be picked in top 5. I think where they had him projected in the last mock draft I looked at, 13 to the Dolphins. I feel is a good spot for him.
I can see it. I think it wouldn't look right because you're so used to seeing Tannehill out there.
Yeah, but he's that all of a sudden, cut.
Yeah. If anything, they're going to keep him and throw him on the bench, but I don't
making 20+ million, dude. That's why I feel like they're just gonna be like, okay, well, you're cut.
Yeah, brush your hands off and move on.
And if he does go there, dude, and they cut Tannehill, he's a day one starter. Unless they sign someone else, I don't see why they would. They just might as well just give the reins to him.
Yeah, and look, again, both
that's my
teams,
guess.
I see him starting.
I'm gonna go with Miami.
Okay. Let me see here. So I think the Giants, no. I think Jaguars, no. Raiders. It's either between the Redskins and the Dolphins. I think the Redskins possibly are looking past Smith.
He just got injured. Might even miss this whole year.
Yeah, and even if he's in this injury warning, it's like a big warning sign, big red flag. Maybe we should pick up a guy and have Alex Smith on the bench just waiting. Mm-hmm. If Alex Smith can't play, you just drafted a starting quarterback. So yeah, that's where I'm going to go with the Redskins.
Okay, that's fair enough, man. It very well could go there.
Well, then we'll move on to we're going to be looking back at our 16-man draft. In this draft, we play with a bunch of friends that we know. First time we've ever done this big of a draft. Ryan set it up, and it was all through Yahoo. We played PPR. And we're just going to kind of talk through probably the first 3-4 rounds, and then we're going to go a little bit deeper on who was probably the better pickups later on in the draft. So starting it off, obviously you have to go with Todd Gurley at number 1. I had the first round pick.
You landed the first pick. Lucky
which
you.
Is super lucky. I got Todd Gurley, and I was able to just wipe the sweat off my forehead and let the other people pick. So
that's a good way to say it. Dude, this draft, the 16-man draft, you cannot be chasing busts. Like if you're hitting these busts, you're done. Like we just went over Frank's team. He busted on almost every pick. He's donezo. And he's eliminated instantly.
And you could tell when you get on those tilt picks, and then you all of a sudden see your team being created, you just tilt off the side of the earth.
He blamed it on, I had the 16th pick. Don't matter what pick you have, dude. If you can draft well, you're gonna be all right at any position.
Yep. Know who to draft. We're gonna be making up our draft kit. Me and Ryan are gonna put one together for you. It's gonna be free, and we just want to kind of show what we do during the draft. That there's always a good pick, no matter what pick you are in the draft. So
there's guys all over that are full of use, man.
Yeah.
Any round.
And it just shows, like, looking back at this draft, okay, you have David Johnson at number 2. Holy cow, did that not work out for you? You know,
That's
you're
rough.
and you're better off going with like a Zeke Elliott. That would have been probably my number 2. I had Saquon Barkley pretty high. I would
Yep.
probably wouldn't have drafted him at 2, but so
This
it
dude
went.
thought he got a steal with Le'Veon Bell at 5.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
That's
Le'Veon Bell dropped to number 8 in our other league, and I ended up picking him up.
Yeah, you got him in our 10-man at 8.
And it's
That's
like
crazy.
8. Oh my goodness, he's still sitting there. It was hard not to take him, but it ended up being a bust. So,
yep.
So let's go down a little bit further. We're gonna switch over. The first round was pretty self-explanatory. I can't see anything.
I got Melvin
crazy.
Gordon at 7, so I'll take that.
Yeah. I
ended up trading him right before he got hurt, so that worked out as well.
Yep, and I ended up trading Todd Gurley right before his downfall, so that worked out also.
You were selling him. I remember that.
By the way, let's talk about how well you did in this league, Ryan, if you want to tell the people a 60-man league.
For the first time ever, I went undefeated in a fantasy league. I have a few leagues that I've done in the past where I've finished with 1 loss, but this is my first time ever going undefeated, and I pulled it off. I made a couple trades. Basically, I made a few trades that were perfectly timed.
Yeah. And some good waiver wire pickups.
Oh, the waiver wires. Yeah, my waivers were good too. My draft was pretty well. I mean, if I can go, I'll go over a quick overview here. First round, 7th pick, Melvin Gordon. Second round, I took Jordan Howard, which later I traded Jordan Howard and someone for Kareem Hunt. So that worked out very well. Jarvis Landry in the 3rd. Solid pick. Corey Davis in the 4th. There wasn't much there. I mean, it's getting bleak already.
Yeah, once you're in 16,
it sounds terrible, but it wasn't. It was actually a solid pick. Trey Burton in the 5th. This was the MVP steal of the draft. Patty Mahomes in the 6th round in a 16-man league carried me. Sony Michel in the 7th round in a 16-man league. That right there is a great pick too. Randall Cobb in the 8th. Notable round 10, John Brown's very solid guy, especially in a 16-man, round 10. Like, okay, and then round 11, I picked up Buck Allen, which was later traded. He started the year with like 5 straight 10-plus point games, so I sold high on that. And that's just an overview of what I did, and I didn't really have many busts. Like, I think Jordan Howard, the 2nd-round pick, would have maybe been a bust, but ended up selling him after week 1 or 2.
Yeah, so I was going to say, even when you start seeing like a trend, you were able to get rid of them before their name was dragged through the mud. So just like Jordan Howard, you were able to get rid of him. So mine was round 1 taking Todd Gurley, and then being the 1st-round pick, I had to wait 16 more picks. I took a wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton, and Larry Fitzgerald. I went back-to-back wide receivers. Looking back at it, round 3, Larry Fitzgerald, I could have taken Adam Thielen was there. Let's see any notable mentions here.
Juju,
Jarvis Landry, Juju Smith. We all kind of missed on Juju.
I overlooked him, I'll admit it.
Brandon Cooks. Yeah,
you could have had on Thielen, but I mean, you would probably think the same thing I was. I just wasn't sold. All talk out of camp was that Kirk Cousins is locking on to Stephon Diggs, and that's going to be his guy, and Adam Thielen is going to be, he's going to be the odd man out, and that's not what happened.
Well, and you see on our 16, round 2, Stephon Diggs got picked.
Yep.
And
6th then overall round 2.
A full round later, Adam Thielen. So you're seeing a lot of guys in between those
two. They bid on that preseason talk, which, I mean, that does play a part.
Yeah, and people get caught up in it every year. And then you kind of look back at it, and it's like, okay, what can I learn from that? We can look back at how good Juju did and kind of pick apart the talk, what set him up. I mean, you're behind Antonio Brown. He's creating so much space for you to go one-on-one, and Smith-Schuster is such a big body. Maybe it was something that we could look into next year. So looking at some of the wide receivers that went before, if we're on the same thing as Juju, looking at like Golden Tate, you got Amari Cooper. You just got some names. You got Kenyon Drake. I mean, Doug Baldwin, Larry Fitz. So there's a lot of people that went before him that were so much weaker. And then going into the round 4, I was at the last pick here. I went with Allen Robinson, was probably my best choice for wide receiver. And then right after that, Dion Lewis. There's some high talk about Dion Lewis coming out of the Titans and him being a pass catcher. while you have Henry running the ball. It's something where you're hoping that he gets a lot of dump offs. And the beginning of the season, Dion Lewis was running the ball as an RB1 for a while.
Yep.
He was starting to get a big name, and I was able to trade him away before all of a sudden he was thrown in the backfield and forgotten about.
Derrick Henry took over. Yep.
So Dion Lewis, and then 6 and 7, I had Duke Johnson as another flyer. I kind of went pretty high on Duke Johnson and Chris Thompson, right around the same area.
Dude, you should have sold him. I would have sold him after them 2 good games. I remember telling you, I was like, dude, Tyler, you got to sell Thompson.
Yeah, you were also trying to trade for him too.
I was trying to. I did throw out an offer. I did. I know.
So yeah. And we all have those players that we miss on, but that was kind of the 2 players that I was hoping for were going to be my late round PPR. Duke Johnson was coming off a good season, and Chris Thompson, I mean, he was the lead guy until they drafted AP. And you were thinking, okay, AP, it's old man AP. Chris Thompson's going to get so much work out of the backfield, and then he just disappeared. So that's going to be something I have to look into next year as well, is Chris Thompson might not be that guy. And I know he was injured for pretty much the whole season, but played through it. Dude. Yeah. And then Duke Johnson was just a surprise.
I'm surprised he's busted, honestly. Yeah,
you had a lot of guys back there, Chubb, Hyde, and then you thought Duke Johnson was
going to be that. Dude, round 8 for you. You took Tyler Lockett. Round 9, James White.
Yeah, Jesus. That's my steal of the draft was James White in round 9. He carried me for a long portion of the season, and I probably should have got rid of him. The talk of Burkhead coming back was spooking a lot of people. For me, I was like, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible, but I hung on to him just hoping, just like I hung on to Chris Thompson, just hoping that spark came and they used him a little bit more. So that was in my court for being bad. And then kind of a pick I made later in the draft in a lot of leagues was Geronimo Allison. It was good looking at him as the third wide receiver in Green Bay. And he showed flashes. I used him in a couple of games.
If he's staying healthy, that was going to be a good pick, man.
I think so, because Cobb was going down.
Well, Aaron Rodgers trusts him, and that's a huge thing when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and his receivers.
And he's a big body too, so trying to go with that. Yeah, besides that, I'm not really looking at too much. I know that you have your main steals of the draft being the rookie running backs. I'm trying to figure out. You have Marlon Mack that went in round 8. If you were able to hold on to him, you had Nick Chubb in round 9, and this is in a 16-man league. So
they dropped him. I had Nick Chubb. Someone dropped him after like week 2 or 3, and I scooped him. So and I traded him later.
Yeah, in looking out for these people, and at round 9 in a 16-man league, that's like round 12 in a normal 12-man.
Maybe so. Yeah, it might even be later than that. I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe around 12, 12, 13.
And then look at here, round 10, that's when James Conner left.
Yep. I remember I passed on him, dude. I was like, I wanted to take him, but...
And it's so weird now that the season's done, and then you go back and look at it, and it's like, what was I thinking at the time that James Conner was not a good pickup?
I know, man. Oh, my gosh. All right, I want to see where he went here. Round 10. So who did I took Latavius Murray over him. Yep. Ouch.
And it's so hard to think because all the pro fantasy football analysts weren't even talking about him either, really.
No, not really.
So it makes you wonder if that's something that we should have jumped on pretty
fast. Because the big news of Le'Veon Bell did not come out until after this, though. Everyone was assuming that he was going to show up on Tuesday, and we did the draft on Monday. So then he didn't show up on Tuesday, and he didn't play week 1, and then there it goes. Snowballed from there.
That's true, and he was week to week also. He could have came back any week from 1 to halfway up to the trade deadline. So crazy to think about. I'm trying to look through here. You have Peyton Barber in round 5. Just looking at Jamal Williams in round 5.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp also in that same round in round 5. Cooper Kupp was a steal.
Could have been a solid. Yeah, that's a good pick.
But anything else that you really see, Ryan, that kind of jumps out to you? I mean, we could go person by person.
George Kittle, round 8.
Yeah.
Great pick. But your James White round 9 is just stupid. like how good that turned out to be for you.
Well, even Kittle being drafted there, that's an excellent draft for somebody that we really didn't even know about until what week was it when all of a sudden he started popping off. So he was a free agency for
in a couple of weeks. He was a free agent. Yeah, it was because he was injured and he got hurt in training camp or preseason. He had a knee injury, so that hurt his value big time. I mean, he did come onto the scene last year, the past season. He showed couple glimpses.
And I guess with Alex Smith out there, right?
So, yeah, that's who it was last year or the year before.
But, yeah. Besides that, I guess I'm not coming up with any other really big names.
I'm scanning through. I'm not really seeing much of like super late hits.
But the craziest thing about looking through this draft is all of the busts that are in here. All the people that are taken way too early.
And those are the teams. Yeah, it hurt a lot of people.
You have some quarterbacks in here that were taken way too early. I mean, you look at like the people taken at the very end of this draft, and you could have easily ran with most of these quarterbacks. So
for sure. I never draft quarterback until like round 10 minimum.
Yeah. I would say right around 10 was the perfect time to draft our quarterbacks. I mean, in a 16-man league, around 10, you got Derek Carr going, so it might have been a little bit more slim in a 16-man league.
Yeah, for sure. Some of these guys are taking 2 quarterbacks before I even had 1 and stuff. I hate that.
Oh my goodness! As soon as someone took their second quarterback and I'm sitting there empty in my quarterback slot is when you start to worry, because it's like, what are you doing? Just fill up your roster. Grab the best available people.
Aaron Rodgers then drafts Phillip Rivers. Like, dude, that was my fucking guy. I wanted Phillip Rivers. In round 10 and 11, we're supposed to go.
Yeah.
I hate them kind of players, man. It's just noobs.
Well, and I remember watching Andrew Luck and knowing that he was dropping in most leagues. He was one of me and you, both going for him. He went in round 7. So it's like,
well, that was my guy. I won 2 of my chips in the years past with him and T.Y. And I wasn't able to get him this year.
And being a 16-man, they kind of push the quarterbacks up a little bit more, especially when people drafting them so early. I mean, Deshaun Watson in the 4th round. You have Kirk Cousins in the 4th, and then going to the 5th.
I'm just glad I got my boy Patty.
Yeah, you got 6.
That helped
such a
lot.
Good. Yeah.
I started Tyrod Taylor week 1, and I ended up still winning, but Patty Mahomes dropped like a 50 burger on him. And I was like, oh, let's go.
That's when you double take. You're like, maybe I should start him.
Yeah, I started him the rest of the season.
But then you look at like round 5, Matt Stafford that went in round 5, and it just shows you way too early to be drafting quarterbacks.
Sure.
So
that'll be trades I made in there quick just to go over them. Like, it shows like perfect timing. Yeah. So the owner of Kareem Hunt, we all know him. He gets rattled fairly quickly. Kareem Hunt started with a 4-point game, and I think he hit a 14-point or 16-point game, but he got that on like 2 touchdowns, goal line touchdowns. So all his points were on 2 touchdowns, and so he was freaking out. Jordan Howard had couple decent games, and he offered me the deal. He's like, I just want to sell Kareem Hunt. Will you give me Jordan Howard? I'm like, sure, why not? I'll take the stud, and I hope for a rebound. And he just absolutely blew up until he got suspended, which I lost him, but I ended up trading for Spencer Ware and picked up Damian Williams, so I had his handcuffs, which worked out. The next trade I made, I sold Buck Allen and Randall Cobb quickly, and I got Kenny Golladay for him. Even though Kenny Golladay, I ended up selling Kenny Golladay later, so it's all like it just snowballed perfectly for me. And then so the dude that had AJ Green he had a terrible draft. So I had Corey Davis, and I had John Brown. So my other receiver was Jarvis Landry, and this guy just had AJ Green. His second receiver was Chris Hogan. There was nothing on the waiver wire. He offered me, he's like, hey, man, I'll give you AJ Green if you give me John Brown and Corey Davis. And now you have to remember this is a 16-man league. Now, in a 10 or 12-man league, that's not a good trade. But in a 16-man league, especially in his position, I feel it's fair. Like, it was a fair trade. John Brown didn't have less than 12 points. Corey Davis just came off that 30-some point game, and I got AJ Green out of it. It helped me for sure, but he did get hurt. And I ended up having to fill his spot with, I don't know. I don't remember who exactly it was. It really didn't matter. I ended up winning it all. But then I got Zach Ertz for Trey Burton and Sony Michel. And then like a week later, Michelle got hurt, so I lucked out on that one as well. So I had Zach Ertz at tight end. I got Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara for Jarvis Landry, Kenny Galladay, and Melvin Gordon. And then 2 weeks later, Melvin Gordon got hurt, so dodged the bullet with that and replaced him with Alvin Kamara, which propelled me to a big playoff run. And I went undefeated, and I ended up winning the Super Bowl with that team. And at the trade deadline last second, I traded away Nick Chubb to get my handcuff and Spencer Ware, and then I also got Philip Lindsay in that deal. So that it was kind of a wash because Lindsay got hurt, and so did Ware.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that the Kamara trade, because
that was a big trade for me.
It was literally the same week when I was talking to you about trading for Kamara and Thomas, and then all of a sudden you went in and swooped him from me.
Oh, were you trying to trade Gurley?
Yeah, that's the same week I was trading Gurley, remember?
Like, yeah, Tyler's trying to trade me Gurley in this trade.
And he wanted him, and I was going to just completely get that bomb of a trade, and then you go in and sweep him from under me. So, I mean, I still had a good trade for Gurley, but it would have been so nice to have that Saints, pretty much the whole Saints team on my side.
I had Michael Thomas in all my leagues after I wrapped him up in this one, so I had to go get him. What did you...
It being a 16-man league, your players are rated so much more, especially your running backs. Running backs are even a tier above where they're at in a normal league because of how scarce it is. Yep. And I mean, you have people that are starting backups just hoping for a couple of catches. I know that.
Yeah,
man,
I know what you mean. It's rough, man. Everyone that's listening that hasn't played a 16-man league, you should do it.
It was a ton of fun.
Warn you, it can be very frustrating. If you blow your draft, you're done. You're pretty much screwed, man. It's going to be so hard to dig out of that because every game counts. And we had 4 divisions of 4, so the winner of each division got in, and then 2 wild cards. So it was fun though. I want to run it back again this year.
Yeah, I would have a lot of fun with doing the 16-man again. It's kind of similar to maybe like a dynasty league where it goes a lot deeper into the player pool, which makes it a lot more fun. The free agency is so scarce.
Like season mode of a dynasty league type of thing. That's what it kind of is.
So, moving on, I kind of had a new segment I wanted to do, and I'm just going to ask a few questions. I'm taking them right off of the Sleeper Bot, where people kind of ask questions. I want to take a couple of them and just give our opinion on it, and kind of make this into, if you wanted to ask questions for this show and you put them in the show notes, or once we start getting more of a comment section set up, you can ask us questions and just kind of want to go over our thoughts. So maybe I'll just do one. It's a fantasy football Q&A. Ryan, we have Keenan Allen, or you get Boyd and Cohen plus the 11th round pick in the first round. And I'm guessing this is a dynasty league. So say you have Keenan Allen.
11th round pick in the first round?
Yep. And it's a dynasty league, and you are getting Boyd and Cohen with the 11th round in the first. So what is your thought? I'm thinking that you take Boyd and Cohen in the 11th round because Keenan Allen is good, but you kind of want those up and coming with Boyd. Cohen has showed flashes in the backfield, and on a dynasty in the 11th round, you're really not getting a big player. But
11th round. 11th round pick?
No, the 11th pick in the first round.
Damn. Okay. I'm going opposite of you. I'm sticking with my boy Keenan Allen.
You're gonna stay with Keenan?
For one, Boyd. AJ Green's always hurt, and you've already seen what happens when Boyd is the main guy. And number 2 is I have a sneaky feeling AJ Green gets cut or traded, dude. I just feel they're gonna go in a different direction. That's out of the blue. I have nothing to prove that. I just have a gut feeling AJ Green is on the move. And that right there, AJ Green's great talent, but they're not really a playoff team anymore. I feel like they're trying to go into rebuild mode.
Yeah.
At least I think they should.
And I guess it depends on what your team looks like also. If you got Keenan Allen, it's like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, then you can trade them for maybe some projected players, or you could keep them and play devil's advocate and keep him and use him until he runs out. Because really, it's just what Mike Williams. You have a really
Hunter
good
Henry's
team.
coming back, but Keenan Allen's that dude. He's a wide receiver 1, and I don't trade those. So
yeah, I guess now that I think about it a little bit more,
wide receivers, dude. That's my guy. Tariq Cohen's too inconsistent. I mean, I know he finished top 15 in PPR, but that was because of 3 huge games. Yeah. So I'll take the consistent guy like Keenan Allen. Even on his worst game, is getting you 12 points. Except the game he got hurt. Which what are you supposed to do? You can't do anything about that.
Yeah. And he's had a couple of seasons now where he stayed healthy. So you really can't play that injury prone card. He's done well.
Dude had what did he have? A busted, like a ruptured spleen or some shit? Like that's not injury prone. He got
it's freak
destroyed. Like that's not injury prone. And then he tore his ACL. That's another fluke injury. Now, injury prone is constant hamstring issues, constant shoulder problems. Like, oh my god, look, his hamstring popped.
It's a hamstring for sure.
Oh, a hamstring. Oh, ankle. It's his ankle again. Like, back. No, dude, it's like the Gronk back problems. He's injury prone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Was Jay Ajayi back also?
Jay Ajayi's injury prone because of those knees. He has jello knees. His knees are so bad. That's why he dropped in the rookie draft, because of his knees.
Yeah, and
all the talent in the world, but he's got messed up knees.
Cook had bad legs as well.
Dalvin Cook?
Yep.
Yeah, see, like that term injury prone just gets tossed around way too easy.
Yeah, you see a couple seasons and maybe hurt one of your seasons because of an injury, and then all of a sudden you want to just label him as injury prone.
That's why we had a couple guys in the league. I'm not taking Keenan Allen. He's injury prone. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. I'll take him.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because me and you both went for Keenan Allen also, and it's like, oh my goodness!
I drafted him in the 10-man, our main league.
Yeah, then hung on to him.
To get him.
Wasn't there a league where you traded him away and then you got him back?
I did in our main league. I traded him away, and later on, close to the deadline, I ended up getting him back.
Okay, well, that ends it for our NFL segment, and we are going to move on to Ryan's MLB talk. Ryan, what do we have for the MLB? I know it's pretty scarce. I
got one headliner and then a few rumors, but I just want to backtrack on that, on those questions that that's enjoyable to go over those. Next episode, I think we're gonna do a few more of those questions, Q&As. I think that could be a pretty good segment, and it gets some just stuff to talk about and some good input on it all.
Yeah, and right off the top of your head, you're thinking about it.
That stuff, and honestly, I didn't even know you were gonna throw that into this, so that was pretty cool. And I enjoy that stuff, and I could talk about that all day. But and I think in the future we can toss those in, and I would love to have people ask questions, not from Sleeper Bot. It's cool to get them off that, but people that actually enjoy listening to us, stuff like that, like putting questions and asking us questions. That's what I want. When that day comes, that'd be awesome. Like, that's my goal. Yeah. And I just want to help people out with this stuff because I have a passion with fantasy football and sports in general, man. And if people want us to talk more NBA, we can throw in NBA segments too. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's the trade deadline just happened, and we don't have enough time to go over all that. But I'm just saying it's possible. We can talk about whatever.
I mean, we literally play everything, and we literally follow everything.
Yep. There's deep into the 3 main sports, so.
Exactly, and we grew up with them, so we are happy to talk to anybody who has questions. If you're just starting or you've played fantasy football for 10 plus years, I think that we have something for everybody, and we are going to help a ton of people if a ton of people are listening in their next year's fantasy draft and then moving forward.
Yeah, even if they're noob questions, like if you're new, and don't be afraid to ask questions, man. We'll give the best answer we can.
Yeah,
we're not going to lead you in the wrong direction.
We can be your third party whenever you have a question in between people. So, all right, well, let's move on to MLB.
the biggest news since our last podcast was the Phillies acquired JT Realmuto. He's arguably the best catcher that was available, possibly one of the best catchers in baseball. He was acquired for Jorge Alfaro, which played for the Phillies last year. He's a catcher as well, so he'll just replace JT in Miami. And then they got top pitching prospect Cisco Sanchez. He is a highly regarded pitching prospect. Now, the prospects are prospects for a reason. You never know what they're going to be. They can dominate minors, and once they get to the majors, you don't know. And a good example of that is what the Brewers had with Lewis Brinson. Absolutely tore up the minors, batting 330 plus, home run, speed, 5-tool player. We trade him for he's the headliner for the Christian Yelich trade, and he has not done jack over there. Literally cannot produce in the majors. And even when he came up with us in the majors, he didn't do anything besides flash his glove a little bit. Like, that's it. So it's just it sucks to see that because he has it, but he just can't transform it to the majors, which is it's tough to watch. It's tough to see that because you want to root for them guys. But like I said, prospects are prospects. You never know. But that's the only big move, and it was a big move. But that's it. And it just still sucks that Machado and Harper are still not signed. It's kind of sickening. It's like these guys should be signed. Spring training is right around the corner.
Yeah, and you want those guys on your team in your
you
training camp,
especially on how much money you're going to be paying these guys. The money that they're going to get good money.
Yeah, let them mesh with some team that they're going to go to.
Yeah, they're just going to jump in and start playing. They're not even going to really know anyone. I don't know, man. That can't be good for the locker room. They're probably going to start slow because they didn't get any training. I mean, I know they're working off the field, but they're not getting the real thing.
And I think it's on their side where they're just waiting. And teams have sent offers. Teams have sent tons of offers their way, and they're just waiting it out. So
they have a lot of offers.
If they're hurting
Bryce Harper turned down $300+ million from the Nationals. Yeah. How do you turn down that money? I'll sign the dotted line. You must have okay.
Yeah, you must have just an ego set to where you think you're worth so much more, or your agent is sitting there. His agent,
Scott Boras. I'm pretty sure that Scott Boras is Bryce Harper's agent. That is, he's so bad for the game. He just is. If anyone knows anything about the guy, he's so selfish, dude. He doesn't let his players sign for anything less. Blah blah. It's just like, suck up your pride, dude. We get it. You're a top agent, but you got to understand where the game's going here. They're not giving out these 10-year deals anymore. It's not happening.
Yep, and he gets paid on the players getting paid, so all it is money.
Nice chunk of change.
It's all money.
The more they sign for, the more he gets. So obviously he's trying to drive that up.
So yeah, just talking about baseball in general. When you're bringing guys up from the minor league teams up into the MLB, you really don't know how they're going to perform. It literally is like going from college to the NFL.
The lights might be too bright, man. Literally, that's a legit
the play
saying.
might be different. It definitely is different. I shouldn't say could be different. It is 100% different. It's a whole nother level. So it just depends on how you turn up in that. And talking about the MLB and talking about picking between the NFL and MLB, it just shows you how quick one player could be really good and all of a sudden mediocre, and then you're not getting paid.
Yep.
So
that's the thing. Like, these first round picks in the MLB, sure, they get a pretty nice chunk of change in their signing bonus, but after that, you're not guaranteed anything, man. That might be the last dollar you get from there. They're not making that much. They're not making not that much money in the minors.
No.
So
it's still probably as much as we're making at a normal job, but
it's probably more than your average. I mean, I think it's around 100K or 50 to 100K in the minors. Once you make it to the majors, you get your salary bumped up to 500K.
Yep.
So it's around there.
Awesome. Well, anything else in the MLB that you want to talk about?
Let's see here.
If not, we can.
Looks like the Giants recently jumped in the mix for Bryce Harper.
Yep, I saw
that. Padres met with Bryce Harper. Other than that, Bryce Harper's literally visiting every freaking team. You know what I mean? It's like,
and mine as well. At this point, you're so far into.
For sure. Dude probably has like 20 deals on the table.
Oh my goodness, he just throws a dart on a board and it hits.
I just really hope he doesn't sign with the Cubs, dude. Low key, they could come out of nowhere and be like, "All right, we'll take him."
Yeah, okay, fine. Kris Bryant.
So that would suck. But other than that, there's really nothing on the MLB front that we can really talk about. It's like I said, it's a glacier. It's moving very slow. Hopefully by next week we can talk about where Bryce Harper and Manny Machado land.
Yeah, hopefully we'll just keep that going until
we'll be saying that every week.
It's like the Le'Veon Bell saga. We'll just every week we'll be
dragging out every week. Oh no! Nope. That's exactly what is going on.
Well, we'll touch base then next week. See if anything's changed. We'll let you know. We'll let you know about everything else. And I'm thinking next week we're going to answer some more questions. Maybe we're going to jump back into the draft for future. So we're going to go through our projections of next year. So we're going to do an early 2019 NFL draft. Maybe we'll do a couple of rounds, see where we would draft people, depending on where people are going.
Top 3 rounds or something.
Yeah, cool. I think that would be fun. And we can even do a live draft if we wanted to and pick our own players. So I think that would be fun. But I appreciate everyone for listening, tuning in. We are still in the means of setting up iTunes, trying to get on Stitcher here. All of our videos are on YouTube and SoundCloud under MVP Podcast. And I think I worded it the MVP Sports and Fantasy Podcast. And that's how it's going to be on the website, on the Twitter. You can email us. It's mvpsportspodcast@gmail.com. And then we will just get into progressing this podcast, getting some listeners, and sharing it. Make sure you share us. Anything you wanted to say at the end, Ryan?
No, just check out the YouTube video. Maybe share it with your friends if you enjoyed it, and just get us out there, man. We truly want to help some people and bring our knowledge to the fantasy football world.
Perfect. Well, signing out is the MVP Podcast. Hope everyone has a great day.